What I find interesting is not just with this question, but any question of diet and health and longevity and risk factors for certain things. Let's say, try a thought experiment. We take two approaches to the lifestyle choices you make and your life expectancy. You could take a maximally simple algorithm as a first approximation of the scientific evidence. And
explain that again.
Yeah, so in other words, what rule of thumb could you follow for your lifestyle choices that would be as simple as possible but still basically follow the scientific evidence? I would summarize that as follows. In terms of your diet, everything in moderation and have a varied diet. That's it. That's a pretty simple rule. Just nothing too extremes. Don't eat a lot of any one thing. Have a varied diet, including fruits and vegetables. By definition, if it's your diet is varied enough, and you'll be fine, right? So that's sort of the simplest rule that gets pretty close to the scientific data. If you want to expand that to all lifestyles, I would say have a varied, moderate diet, exercise regularly, have regular sleep, don't drink a lot of alcohol, and don't smoke. That's it. That's really what the last 50 years of scientific evidence have told us about lifestyle and risk factors. Again, this is for the general healthy population, to emphasize that. If you have certain diseases, then it gets more complicated as you have to accommodate in specific diseases. Like if you're a diabetic, you need to be on a diabetic diet. Now, compare that approach, a person following that approach, to somebody who obsessively follows the scientific evidence in as great detail as possible and tweaks their diet and their lifestyle to account for every nuance of the scientific data. And I'm saying they're being scientific. They are following the evidence, but they're trying to tweak their behavior and their diet specifically so that they're adjusting, every macronutrient, every micronutrient, every vitamin, everything to its optimal range, avoiding things that should be avoided, really obsessing and basically dedicating their life to having the optimal diet. Honestly, I don't think there would be a significant difference between those two approaches. I don't think that if you get any difference, if the obsessive approach is any different than the simple algorithm approach, I don't think it's that significant. I think actually the difference there is within the noise of the data that we have. I don't think we have enough scientific data to get to be that obsessive person. I think that the simple algorithm is really what we can say based upon the evidence.
Right. So, the quality of life you would lose and the time you would lose obsessing over it wouldn't be worth it.
And it's not it's not even clear that you would net a day of life from doing that. But even if you did, there's this other question: would it be worth it? So, and the other thing is that most people can't really comply with that obsessive lifestyle and worrying over every little detail. So honestly, I think it's far better to really emphasize the simple approach, because that's basically what the scientific data is telling us anyway. And once you try to get more detailed than that, you're into controversy and the limits of the data that we have and the noise of the data that we have. So just keep it simple. I think that would be my prescription. That's Steve's healthy lifestyle. Keep it as simple as possible. I can't get a whole book out of that, right? That's like on one sheet of one side of one paper. Keep it, a varied, moderate diet. Exercise, don't smoke, don't drink to excess, get a good night's sleep. That's all you need to do.
It's the KISS concept, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah,
right.
It's very easy to say, get a good night's sleep. Because there's a few parameters here, and sleep is another topic that we think would be an interesting thing for us to really talk about. But there are people that just can sleep well, but they're not giving themselves enough sleep time, right? That's one thing. And for the most part, the good average is between 7 and 9 hours of sleep. But a real problem, and it's something that I suffer from, is I just don't sleep well. I can give myself an 8-hour clip or a 9-hour clip. I just don't get a lot of quality sleep during that time. It's probably because I have way too many things going on in my life that I can't possibly get to. But, that's a different problem, and a lot of people suffer from that. And it's very hard to work your way through an issue like that.
Yeah, that's right, Jay. So the thing that's different about sleep is that you don't have total control over it. You have total control over what you put in your mouth, what you do, Although people may have physical limitations that make it difficult to exercise as well, but you could always find something. You control if you smoke, how much you drink, but you can't control how well you sleep because you can have issues. You can have insomnia or whatever problems with your sleep. And I think it's a hugely underdiagnosed and undertreated problem. My advice is if you have good sleep hygiene, that's the stuff you can control, basically, the lifestyle factors that you can control. If you have good sleep hygiene and you're still not sleeping well, then you have a sleep disorder and you need to treat that as a medical condition. And you need to get diagnosed properly and treated properly for that. You shouldn't just accept, and I have patients who come to me like, oh yeah, I get 3-4 hours sleep at night and it's been that way for a long time. It's like, and you don't see that as a medical problem? That's a medical problem. That needs to be addressed. We need to do a sleep study or whatever. We need to address it. But a lot of people just don't think of that as a medical issue that needs to be aggressively treated. Then they wonder why they're tired and gaining weight, and they have all these symptoms which are demonstrably related to lack of sleep. And they just don't make that connection. So, yeah, there definitely needs to be more public awareness about sleep disorders. So it needs to be addressed more as a problem. I think it's related a lot to the obesity problem in this country, both cause and effect, apparently. Lack of sleep results in being overweight, and being overweight impairs sleep. You get sleep apnea, and it's, it's poor quality sleep. So it's a vicious circle.